Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cooking with Suzanne. So today I want to share with you a dessert that we used to make at Suzanne Fine Regional Cuisine that was a big favorite, and that is cheesecake. As a matter of fact, I think that it's probably a favorite in many restaurants. And today I'd like to share with you my recipe for creme fraiche cheesecake. So the first thing we want to do is make our crust because we want to get it baked and let it cool before we put our filling in. So let's get started on that. I have here 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs, and I happen to use this particular brand, which was Keebler, but it doesn't matter. You can even take graham crackers, put them in a Ziploc bag and use a rolling pin and just roll them out. I know that a lot of recipes do call for sugar to be added to their crust, and quite frankly, I don't think that it's necessary. The second ingredient, if you check graham crackers or crumbs, you'll see that the second ingredient in this cracker crumb is sugar. So we're not going to add any. The only thing we want to add to the graham crackers is some melted butter, and that is just to bind it. So here I have 4 tablespoons. I'm going to pour in about 3. Let's hold a little bit back. All we want is enough butter to just bind it. We don't want it too greasy. Okay, so what you're looking for here is for the graham crackers to stick together when you squeeze it in your hand. And if it doesn't, if it falls apart, it's because it's a little too dry. And that means that you're going to need just a touch more butter. I think we're going to need all of this. So that was 4 tablespoons, which is a half a stick of butter, or 2 ounces. And I think this should be perfect. So then squeeze it, and you can see that it's adhering very, very nicely in my hand. So we're in good shape. Now what you want is a 9-inch springform pan. This happens to be just a regular pan with a removable bottom. So it has a removable bottom, which works the same as a springform pan. And I just happen to like these for cheesecakes. But most people I know have a springform pan, which is perfect. So you want to get your crumbs in here. So the first thing you want to do is just very lightly go around and spread the crumbs around the bottom of your pan. And then once you have it pretty even, I'm just doing this very lightly, once you have it pretty evenly coated, then you can go in and start to really press. And just give it a little bit, like a 1/4 of an inch up the sides. And that's just to make sure that it's sealed pretty nicely. Okay, this is nice. I'm going to come around and just give you a quick little show here. I'm sure you can imagine what it does look like, but there you go. So now this is just going to go in the oven, as I said, at 350 for 10 minutes, and then we will let this completely cool. So first 2 ingredients here is 1/2 cup of creme fraiche, and also 1½ cups of sour cream. I happen to use this one, and the creme fraiche that I'm using is from Vermont Creamery. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful cultured cream. It has a wonderful richness, a wonderful heavier creaminess than actual straight up sour cream. If you can't get creme fraiche, or you don't want to try to obtain it, just use all sour cream. But I do think it's worth seeking out. Okay, and we have 1 pound. I have always used Philadelphia cream cheese, but if you have a favorite you prefer to use, by all means use it. So 2 packages. It is really important that you have all of your ingredients room temperature. Very important for the cream cheese to be nice and soft before you even begin. We're going to do this in a food processor. However, if you prefer to do it in your mixer, you absolutely can. And then we have, of course, we have to have a little sugar. So 1 cup of sugar, We have 3 large eggs, and I also have these at room temperature. I love the little bit of the flavor of lemon in the cheesecake. So I just took the zest from a lemon, zested it, and finely chopped it, and I have 1 teaspoon of lemon zest here. If you're not a fan of that flavor, just eliminate it, don't put it in. And then of course 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So that is all the ingredients to making a cheesecake. The first thing you want to do is get your cream cheese into your food processor. 1 pound. And all I like to do is just kind of give this a little bit of a mix before I add the rest of my ingredients. Just pulse it. Just to make sure it's really nice and soft. You don't need to overmix it. It does look really good though. I think we're, just grab this spatula here. Just make sure it's nice and smooth. Oh yeah, this is really, really nice and smooth. What'll happen if your cheese is too cold, when you go and put your eggs in here, you'll end up with a few lumps. It's okay. No one is going to dislike it because they found a little lump of cream cheese. But if you're just looking to really make it nice and smooth and creamy, this step is pretty important to make sure that your cream cheese is nice and room temperature. Now you can go ahead and add your sugar. And I'm just going to pulse this again. I'm not looking to get much air in here. There we go. And we can go ahead and add 1 egg. And see how that looks. Go in and just stir it. Make sure that it's nice and smooth, which it is. Okay. And the reason why I like to do it this way and pulse it rather than just run the mixer is that I don't really want to incorporate any air and get any air pockets and bubbles into the cheesecake. And I am sure you've often heard that if your cheesecake cracks, people will say it's because it's been over-mixed. And I think that's a good possibility. So now I will go ahead and add our last egg. And this time, I will give it a good mix. And let's just go around one more time and see if it's nice and smooth. It looks like it is. It looks great. Okay. And that's the last ingredient that's going to go into our food processor. The rest we're going to just do by hand. Okay, that's it. Now let me just grab a bowl. And once again, I like to finish this off so that it doesn't have too much air going into the cheesecake. So we have 1.5 cups of sour cream, and then our 1/2 cup of creme fraiche. All right. And let's put our 1 teaspoon of lemon zest in here. There we go. And this, you just want to mix this so that it's nicely incorporated. All right, this looks really perfect. So the last step is to take our filling here and hold on to the blade underneath. And I do like to pass this through a strainer. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, that's our 10 minutes for, I'm going to just set that in. That's our 10 minutes for our graham cracker crust. So let me go to the oven and take it out and get our oven lowered to 300 degrees. So here is the crust, and you can see around the edges how it's just a little darker, and that is absolutely perfect. So now I'm going to put this on a cooling rack, and we will let this cool completely before we put the filling in. So let's just pass this through. I'm going to set this back in and just pour the rest in here. You don't want to whip this. You're not looking to incorporate any air in your cheesecake. You just want to mix this with a rubber spatula. I think you can see how nice it mixes. I want to come around and just show you the filling, and you can see how nice and smooth it is. Okay, here you go. There. I think you can see how beautiful and smooth the filling is. Just the way it should be. Okay, so our filling is ready, and let's just talk about the foil. So I have 2 pieces of foil, and I also have a tray that I am going to set the cheesecake in, bring it over to the oven, and then pour hot water. It does not have to be boiling water. It can be hot water from your tap. It is perfectly good. So it's nice if you can try to get the water 1/3 to halfway up, but this is fairly shallow, so I think it's only going to go up about 1/3, but it'll work just fine. Okay, and then you want to take your foil, hold on to your pan. And this is just regular size foil. Oh, it's okay. This is just regular size Reynolds foil that I'm using. I thought I had it here, but I don't. Okay, and just bring it up around your pan. And just make sure that it's nice and tight. So we will wait until this is completely cooled, and then we'll go ahead and put in our filling. I'll be right back. Okay, I have my hot water ready. I have my roasting pan ready, and I believe our crust is cool enough. It's completely cool. So now we can go ahead and put our beautiful filling right in. Okay, completely clean. Just smooth the top. We can put our cheesecake right into our roasting pan, and you can bring this straight over to your oven, put it in, and then pour your hot water at your oven if you're more comfortable. If you want to do it here, you certainly can. And now I will take this to the oven. I will check it after 1 hour, every 10 minutes after that. It usually takes anywhere from an hour to an hour and 20, even an hour and 30. it can, it depends on your oven. But this usually takes about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, see you back soon. Okay, I just pulled the cheesecake out of the oven and it is definitely done. And in my oven, it took an hour and 10 minutes. And it has everything to do with whether you have an electric oven, a gas oven, also if your ingredients were room temperature or if they were very cool when you prepared the cheesecake. So all of those things really do matter. So don't worry about how long it took mine. Just keep checking it. After the first hour, just make sure that you check it. And I'm going to let's get rid of this water here. And the first thing we want to do is remove the foil in hopes that there isn't any water, but if there is, you definitely want it to get it out of here right away, if there happens to be any. Okay, and then just lift it out and set it on a cooling rack. And fortunately, you know, it's nice and clean, nice and dry, which is really good. I'm just going to come around in hopes that you can see how I was able to tell that the cheesecake was done. It's such a light color, it might be difficult, but I would like for you, I don't want to let it go. Here we go. Okay, so you can see all around here, it really looks very well cooked. And when I jiggle it, just right in the center, hopefully you can see that, right in the center, there's just a tiny bit of movement right there in the center. But all around here, and you can clearly see that there are no cracks in the cheesecake, and the little specks that you might possibly be able to see is the lemon zest. So it looks great. Now what you want to do, don't refrigerate this until it's completely room temperature. And I would say this is going to take a good 2 to 3 hours before this is ready to be refrigerated. Okay, so that's it for our cheesecake. I'll see you back here tomorrow. All right, take care. Have a great evening. Bye now. Hello everyone and welcome back. Our cheesecake is ready to be cut. So it's nice and chilled, and I chilled it overnight and we are ready. So I'm just going to use, you can use a knife, or I have an offset spatula and I'm going to use it backwards. I'm just going to go in and just go around the rim of the cheesecake to be able to take the rim off. So you just want to put pressure leaning up against the wall of the pan until you've gone completely around it. And perhaps with a springform pan, maybe this isn't quite as necessary, but it's probably still good to go around it. Okay, and we just want to go around and lift, put pressure on the bottom of the pan. Okay, and then lift it up, which I am doing right here. There's our pan. Okay, so here is our beautiful cheesecake. So I have, a nice way is to grab a container, something that the cheesecake can sit on top of, to go ahead and cut it. At the restaurant, we used to use just a piece of dental floss with no flavoring. Just, you can use unwaxed or waxed dental floss, but with no flavoring. And it's just a really nice way to be able to cut the cheesecake. So you can measure it if you want to be exact, or you can just kind of eyeball it. you want to try to first cut down right down the center of the cake and just go all the way down. So this gives you room to be able to really put pressure all the way down as opposed to if you had it on the counter. And then you can just slide it through. And then you want to cut it this way and go all the way down. And then just slide it through. So depending on how many slices you want, you can either get, if I cut completely in half and in half this way, you would get 8 very large slices. At the restaurant, we used to do it in thirds and in thirds so that we would get 12 slices, and they were 12 very generous slices. Now, we have 12 beautiful slices of cheesecake. Okay, here is our cake stand. Let's take the cheesecake and set it down. And of course, I told you that, you know, at the restaurant we used to serve this with a nice raspberry sauce, which you could get the recipe for in the video for the peach melba. And the 2 fruits right now that are very plentiful are some nice blackberries and peaches. And the peaches are excellent. So we're going to serve this cheesecake with these fruits today. So what's really good is if you have a very thin bladed knife, very thin blade, it can't be a thick blade, you want to kind of put right where you put your dental floss and just cut straight down and then slide it out, like so. And if you have a little bit of water, you do want to clean your blade before you go in and slice again. So let's go to the other side. Okay. And then press straight down and in. There we go. There we go. Let's get it on our plate. Hopefully you could see, I'll bring it over so that you can actually see it because I can see that it's very difficult to see from there. So let's just put some fruit first. Start with some nice peach slices, which I think would taste great. Fresh fruit is always really nice with the cheesecake because the cheesecake is so rich. But it's also, this particular recipe is really light. It's one of those cheesecakes where you can have a little sliver, take a break, go back, and you're ready for another sliver. It's really good. These blackberries are huge. I think they're so big, I'm going to slice them in half because they're quite large. But they're very sweet and very, very good. So let's put a few blackberries here. And then of course, if you have any edible flowers from your garden, you definitely could garnish the top of your cheesecake with a nice edible flower and perhaps a piece of mint. It's the way we used to always serve our cheesecake at the restaurant. Okay, clean up your plate a bit, and I will come around so that, and I'll bring this over too so that you can see the inside of the cheesecake. Let me first do that, and then I'll show you the finished. So hopefully you can see how beautiful the texture is, and it's just perfect inside, just enough crust, not that, you know, it's a nice thin layer, which I love. Okay. I have not made this cheesecake since we closed the restaurant, so I'm pretty excited. I think I'm going to skip lunch and go straight to dessert. I am ready for this. Okay, and there you have. I think you can get a good view of the cheesecake. It's really good. Okay, we will be back. And by the way, this cheesecake, Bob used to pair it with so many different dessert wines from the Finger Lake region. I have to say there are some fantastic dessert wines. So if you take a trip up to the Finger Lakes, be sure to try some of the dessert wines. They are fantastic. And once again, if you liked the class, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Suzanne, Cooking with Suzanne, Fine Regional Cuisine. Like, subscribe, send messages, send us photos if you actually make the recipe, which would make me very happy. So please do subscribe. Look forward to seeing you for the next time. Take care. Have a great day, everyone. Bye now.